Hey, I wanted to kind of talk to y'all for a little bit about a question that's been boggling in my mind for a better part of like a month or so. And that question will be, why is it that men are taught to be husbands, but why that women were not taught how to be wives? And it's been rolling around my head for a decent while. Um, I'm just like kind of a little bit over the month, but primarily over the last month or so, it's been kind of jumping around in my mind of why is it? Because the way I see it is that like when I was growing up, I was raised by my dad showed me exactly how to be like he inadvertently and also through just kind of direct how he acted showed me how to be a good husband, and therefore by him being a good husband I knew how to like he was able to show me, and I was able to realize that through being a good husband shows you how to be a good dad and father to your kids. But more often than not, I've noticed that like a lot of females nowadays, they will say, "Oh well, I'm a strong, independent female." And there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like when it comes to a lot of females nowadays, when they have a kid with somebody, they immediately neglect their husband, and instead of being just genuine about it and being like, hey, and actually telling their spouse or partner beforehand that they're gonna take away the love that they had for the husband, or in that case, or maybe in the case of their partner, that they're gonna separate the love from them and take away from the love from them and give it to the child. What should be going on, and what happens in a lot of men, is if they're gonna be a good dad, they will double their love and give some of that extra love to the child and not take away from the love that they give to the mother of their child. But instead, women more often than not will end up separating the love, like taking away the most of the love that they had for their initial spouse or partner, and now the father of their child, and they'll take away that love and give it to, say, the child. And if they have more children, then they'll take away more love from the father of their kids and give it to them. They'll take away more love. They'll take away more love. They'll take away more love, and neglect the partner that literally gave them the kids in the first place. And that always just kind of confused me, and always kind of got on my nerves as I've started to realize, why is that? Because, and my theory is due to the feminist movement over the past couple of years, which certain parts I agree with, other parts I don't. A lot of the feminist movement's biggest points is that they want equality. There's nothing wrong with being equal, but with equality comes equal shares of the load, where they want to have equal like partnership, they want to have equal pay in jobs, but they don't want to have the equal shared heartache that comes with some of those higher paying jobs. And that's not to say that some females can't be capable of doing such a more difficult job and don't have the mental capacity or anything. It's not that they are incompetent when it comes to that, but it does have the fact of doing that. In as history has proved, that a lot of men end up doing things a little bit differently and can handle things a bit less emotional than some females. I understand that's not completely true for all men, but it's also not true that all females can handle being able to be a wife and good mother, like maintain being a good mother to your kid, while also not for neglecting their husband. And I feel like that's where the big disconnect comes. Is they're like, oh well, I have this love for my husband. Let me give it to my child because my child requires the most amount of attention. No, no, no. What you should be doing, instead of neglecting your husband, neglecting the love that you have for him, you should double your love and give it to your child. Not just necessarily give it to your child, but you should be able to grow your love to expand to your child, but not forget your husband. Because I'm seeing more often than not where the wife will completely neglect the husband because, and they're like, oh, well, I'm being a great mother. You're saying I'm not being a great mother? It's like, no, that's not what you're doing. You're just being a shitty wife. But that's not necessarily entirely their fault. It's partially their fault for going with society and going with the flow of society that is teaching them that women should just care about themselves and their child first before their man. But that's not necessarily true. You should worry about your man, and then through that, then you'll be able to learn before you have a kid. And so once you get married or be with somebody for a while, you should spend time with them, grow, like learn different nuances about them, learn the strengths, learn the weaknesses that y'all have. And then that way, make sure you make time for them. Even if you have kids, make sure you make time for them, because otherwise they're just going to feel like they're along the wayside and get forgotten about. And that's going to be detrimental to y'all's relationship moving forward. Now, I understand that that's not always the easiest thing to do. It can be very, very taxing on trying to like seem like you don't have enough time for you. If you give time to your husband or your partner, that you're not going to have enough time for the child. No, you can actually still have enough time for your child. But it's more often than not that I'm noticing that they'll spend only time with the child and then completely neglect their partner, which is the one who literally gave them the opportunity to be a mother. And instead of being a great mother and wife, they end up just being a good mother, but a shitty wife. And I feel like the way society tells people is that women don't need a man. They don't need, like, whatever may have you. Like, you can just be on your own. You can be a strong, independent woman. That's fine. You can. But understand that that comes at a cost. If you want to be a fully independent woman, and a lot of the women who I'm seeing who want to be fully independent will be very much to the point that they're like, well, I want, but a man should still provide for me. Okay, but that kind of that disintegrates your whole necessity for wanting to be independent. If you're wanting to be independent, why are you even dating in the first place? If you don't want to date, then don't date. It's fine. But don't go trying to look for a partner who's going to give you what you want, which, say, it's a child. You really want to have a child? Cool, great, fantastic. But in order to be able to have that child, you have to also understand that there's another person in the picture who's going to be doing that along with you. It's not you alone. You're not alone in the whole escapade of trying to find out what is going on with the child and what have you. Now, I understand that this is probably going to hit a couple nerves, but it is what it is. If you get offended, okay. I'm just trying to share my thoughts and like try to bring to light some issues that I'm noticing that are happening in like the lives of those around me who are going through this shit. And I'm seeing more often than not where the people who are getting married, the woman basically completely changes, or she'll just be like, oh, well, I just don't want to, like, I just don't really love you. I love my child, but I don't really want to be around you. And they completely neglect giving attention to their husband who still wants their attention and still needs their attention. And that's not to say that men can't do without having attention and being attended to, but if a man's not being attended to, then that makes it seem like you just don't care. And now if you just don't care about the husband, the father of your child, how fucked up is that? That you don't care about this person who you chose to have that child with, and that you choose to take the child over him. That's fucked up, because he's the one who helped you make that child. He's the one who you felt intimate enough and loved enough that you wanted to have a child with them, to the extent that you love them enough that you're like, I love you, I care about you, I think you're a great person, and I want you to have my child. But what they don't tell the man is, oh yeah, well, by the way, once we have a kid, I'm not gonna really pay attention to you anymore. I'm not gonna want to go on dates. I'm not gonna want to give you fun time. I'm not gonna want to do nothing. And I feel like that's more prevalent nowadays than ever before, because a lot of people, like a lot of women, are just like completely neglecting their husband due to the fact that they're like, well, I need to be attentive to my child. Okay, but why can't you do both? I've heard the whole narrative that like women are so much better multitaskers than men. If that were true, then why are they neglecting? Why are they neglecting their man for the child, and why are they not able to multitask, giving time to their man and also giving time to the child? If they're such great multitaskers, why are they not multitasking and giving time to both? Now, understand that sometimes couples want to go out on dates themselves, but then they don't want to. But then the woman doesn't want to take the child on the date. Okay, I mean that's fine that they want to take the child on the date, but y'all need to actually make time. Like before people get into relationships, I feel like they literally go into it thinking, oh, I'm just gonna be like I'm gonna have fun with this person, but then I'm not gonna make like if it lasts, it lasts. If it don't, it don't. And I feel like that's too much of like the culture nowadays that people don't want to actually like invest in the relationship in the right ways, and they don't ask the right questions up front. Because let's say that a girl gets with a guy who doesn't want to have kids. Does she ask that in the first couple of dates? Because I asked that when I was dating, and I asked pretty quickly. I was like, hey, I'm not going to bullshit around or be around the bush. I'm going to be straight with you. It's like, look, do you want kids? No. Okay. Then you're not the one. Okay, cool. I saved myself a lot more time and money saved that I can invest in the one who actually does want to have kids. I wanted to have kids, so I was like, okay, cool. Let me find somebody who does. And if that person didn't, when I was dating, they didn't want to have kids. I was like, okay, I think it's time we part ways. So it didn't get more than maybe like 2 or 3 dates in before I was able to figure that out. Or when we were just in the talking stage, not even gone on a date, I was able to ask him, I'm like, hey, do you want kids? No? Okay, cool. Nice knowing you. Have fun. But I feel like more than not that women nowadays feel like they have to have a kid because society is telling them you have to have a kid to be successful. No, that's not true at all. You can be successful in your job. You can be successful by just you and your partner alone. You don't have to have kids. It's not a necessity, and especially in a man's mind, like his success is not defined by whether or not he has a kid. But I feel like society, even as much as all these women want to be the woman and like somebody that younger women can look up to, that's fine. You can have other women look up to you, and that's great. But at what cost are you doing? Are you trying to be that big woman, big, strong, powerful woman? I've had my pitfalls in my career. I've had to restart my career a couple of times, and I've built myself from the ground up to the extent I can actually do what I want and actually be able to grow in my knowledge and start from scratch. But I started from the bottom, and then I was able to grow to a much more successful career. It took me a lot of time, yeah. It also took me a good amount of time to find the woman that I wanted to call the mother of my children. But once I found, I was good. I knew before she knew. So the whole bullshit of like, oh, women know a lot before men, not true, not true at all. A lot of instances I can think of that I knew before my wife knew that she was going to be my partner. I knew before she did. And I feel like that's not true in every situation, I know. But I feel like most of how it happens that women want to neglect their husbands goes back to how they were raised. And how I was raised was that you got to be a good husband to the mother of your future kids before you can be a good father to those kids. Because if you can take care of a woman and deal with all her wiles and woes and what have you, you can take care of a kid just as well, if not better. Now, if you neglect that woman, then you're going to see the results of that. But if you neglect that child, you're going to see some of the results of that. But overall, like the kid's going to get over it at a certain point where they're going to be like, okay, well, daddy's not spending time, say if it's a male, daddy's not spending time with me, but he's spending time with mommy. And it's because he wants to spend time and actually continue to grow his relationship with mommy. So I'm okay. The child will end up realizing that, whether they realize it at a young age. They'll probably realize it as they get older. They're like, okay, well, daddy and mommy are actually spending time together, and they're valuing their relationship. That's what I should do when I grow up. And I feel like more often than not, a lot of parents will nowadays will not do that to the child, and they're showing that if like they just happen to have a partner with a one night stand or some shit, that they're like, oh well, if they get divorced, they're like, I want to go around and have fun. Why would you not want to have fun with the one person you gonna be with for the rest of your life, or at least for the rest of the foreseeable future? Why would you not want to have fun with them? Why would you not want to, instead of just throwing yourself around and then just having fun, why not have fun with that one person you're going to be with? Why not wait to have fun with that one single person and be able to grow with them and experience and have new experiences, instead of having new experiences with a bunch of different people that's going to mess you up in the head? Why not be patient and have fun with just that one right person that you know you're going to be having an intimate connection with? Before you have that intimate connection, figure them out. Figure out if they're actually going to be a good match for you. Ask them the right questions. Ask them the deep questions. It's not that hard. Do you want kids? Like, you can always start with, do you want kids? Yes? No? Okay. If you don't, fine. We're not meant for each other. If you want, like, and there's the whole adage of, like, some people are like, well, you never know if maybe they'll change their mind. And somebody might say, oh yeah, well, maybe I'll change my mind when I get older. If you don't want kids now, you're not going to want kids. Like, it's going to take a lot to change, especially if it's like a dude and he doesn't want kids. He doesn't want kids. If kids in general are not on a man's priority, it's not like he's not going to be defined by his success or lack of success by whether or not he actually has a kid. A woman is has a greater tendency of, she wants to provide by her natural instinct of a mother, of like, and it's in her DNA, it's in her biology that she wants to be a mother. But I feel like more often than not, women are just like, oh well, I just want to give in to my urges and just have my fun before I settle down. No, don't just have your fun before you settle down. Find the right person before you have your fun to settle down. That's just my advice. You can take it or leave it. If you take it, great. If you don't, you're probably going to end up with a lot of heartache. You're probably going to end up with a lot of really shitty scenarios, really shitty breakups, and really rough situations. That's just from a lot of different situations that I've been seeing, that not even on just social media, just in my personal life. Over the past, like, over 20 years that I've been alive, I've seen a lot of different heartache, and marriages fail because the wife neglected the husband to an extent that he wanted even a little bit of attention, just a little bit of effort in the relationship. And I feel like more often than not, women nowadays, they want to get all the benefits of a relationship. They want the security of having themselves a man or a partner that they can rely on, and when shit hits the fan, they can go home, cry to him, and give them a big hug and be like, and be in their husband's embrace and know everything gonna be alright. But more often than not, they'll end up going home complaining to their husband like, oh my god, this and this and this. They want somebody to vent to. That's fine. Guys want that too. And I feel like more often than not, it's forgotten that guys need somebody to vent to as well. Guys need time with that one person that they chose to be the mother of their kids. They need time to continue to develop their relationship. And if you don't develop your relationship with that one person that you're with, you're gonna lose a relationship. You're gonna kill whatever y'all had. You have to keep trying and making an effort in your relationship that is a necessity. Otherwise, what are you guys doing? Why are you guys together? And to the extent you're gonna have to actually sit back and be like, wait, why are we together? I don't know. And it's like, well, we have a kid together. It's like, okay, but what do you guys still have in common? Do you have to go out and see how each other's doing, reconnect? You need to do that at very absolute least, y'all. Like, if you got kids, or even if you ain't got kids, why is it that in most early on in the marriage, they would go out on dates, they would go out and have fun, they would have a great fucking time, but then once you have kids into the mix, they're afraid to let the kid go to the babysitter. They're afraid to let the kids Go with the grandparents, either side, and allow them to reconnect and get back to why they are still together today. And I feel like that's where a lot of women differ from men, is that the man will ask and be like, hey, basically like, yo, basically without so many words, they're like, hey, I've been noticing you spend a lot of time with our child. Almost wins my time. And more often than not, the woman's like, oh, but my child needs me. But my child needs me. No. It ain't your child. It's y'all's child. It's yours and his child. It is not just your child. It is your child and it is his child. It's y'all's child together. Y'all stop being you individuals when you got together. You stopped being individuals and started being a team. And why? And in any kind of sports team, with the exception of very, very rare sports, the best sports that everybody wants to watch are team sports. And whether or not you're actually like performing at the same time, say if like you're shooting or some shit, or you're doing golf or some shit, that person didn't get there by themselves. They had a team. They had somebody supporting them and having their back. Why would you not? And like with those teams, they'll end up having to go and take like time where they can actually just be them and actually relax, calm down, and have a good time. Why is it that in marriages the woman will more often than not than the man neglect the relationship that they originally had with their husband? Sorry if this is going on a little bit long, but yeah, if you can like subscribe to my channel, that'd be awesome. If y'all have any comments, concerns, or questions, put them down in the comments below. And yeah, hope y'all have a great day and have fun.